Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to our international podcast, Below the Belt. Who Vex Facts? We've only been struggling with the mic for about 10 minutes now, only. But we ain't gonna let nothing get us down, folks. It's Sunday, and we trust that you guys are great. We feel fantastic, and we're not gonna let a little mic setback hamper and damper our spirits. The least bit good to see Beatrice Selby already here. Suzanne McDonald is already here. Good to see Beatrice and Suzanne and all the other folks joining us. We're talking today about what's happening at the BV Triumph NDC in relation to some land sales, quote unquote. Something stinks to high heaven. And I hope if you have a counselor at the NDC, you tag them folks. I'd love to talk to some folks there. It's very difficult to talk to the folks at the Triumph BV NDC. Something's not adding up, folks. The math ain't right. No, no, no. No way, Jose. Good to see you, Pamela Fontenelle, Rowena Williams, Deborah Clark. Good to see you. And as Deborah says, the below the belt families, Deshaun Alexander, Carl Fordyce. Good to see you, folks. Good to see you, Vanessa De Silva. Good to see you. I see a lot of folks have joined us. Yonet Ann Smith, Unjan. Good to see you as well. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys, your spirits are in the right place. Some of you might have gone to church. Decent people go to church, but the rest of us, we go to church. Hope you guys have gone to the masjid, the temple, wherever you guys go to worship the Creator. We trust that you guys have had a good time doing that, and we're so grateful that you guys are here now with us, folks. Nothing irregular. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Lots is happening in the news. Folks, we're going to share some of that with you, but not before we say good morning to Lauren Jones and Shirley Deuce Tendry and Shelley Granderson, Paulette Hart Dean. Good to see Paulette here. And I see Melanda McKenzie and is it Kato Tech or Kaito Tech? Good to see you guys as well. Volda Wolford, Viola Wolford. My apologies there, Viola. My apologies. Edol Rodney's here too, and Roxanne Andrews, Eric Faria's here. Good to see you, Eric. Winston Henry's here as well, and Eva Boucher, Ingrid Burnett. Guys, really good to have you guys here. Couldn't ask for a better bunch of people. Something a little disgusting, but we can take it. So I'm not a pie myself, folks. Good to have each and every one of you here with us, folks. I had a good laugh yesterday afternoon, and I hope you guys are finding some time for self care and for just spending some time with yourselves, just getting in touch, decompressing for the week. Another week is before us, guys, and we got to be fired up, got to be ready to go. You got to refire. And the weekend is good for that, folks, just to kind of resetting and recharging the batteries. You know how it goes, the batteries. You know how it goes, folks. So I was in the national park yesterday afternoon, getting my walk game on. I did a good 5 laps yesterday afternoon. Took me about an hour and a little bit there. 5 laps around the national park is just over 5 miles. And as I was walking around, a family was there, and a little girl says, "Mister Duncan, things tight." She doesn't look like more than 30 years old. You all see the impact of social media. I say, "You're right. You're right, youngster. You're right. Things tight." Yep. That gave me a good laugh. She said, "Things tight, folks." Yep. A lot of folks are complaining. And it's the truth. Things tight. There is no way to sugarcoat it. When you go to the shop and you see them prices, you can find some euphemisms. Oh, things have arisen. things tight, people. It tight. Good to have each and every one. Shout out to Skeldon and to Corrivedon. Yep. Good to see Colette Hinkson is here, and Patrick Rose and Alicia Thomas. Jamal Aziz is here as well. Candy, Naleen Inderjeet says, "Happy Sunday to all." And we want to say happy Sunday to Candy too. Good to see you all, folks. What's for lunch? What's for lunch? One of our listeners called me yesterday after the podcast, and she said she's having some saltfish and I think potato. She said it was. I said, well, I gotta take a taste. I licorice like that. I can take a taste. What you guys are having for lunch, folks? Y'all don't mind if I beg y'all. Right? And no things like you mightn't be able to give me the full portion. You would have been able to give me all day. But I can still take a little thing. I can still take a taste. Guys, how are you doing? Jennifer Argyle. Good to see you there. Good to see you there. Yep, yep. Jennifer says things tight indeed. Folks, ain't no way to sugarcoat it. When you go to that shop and you see those prices, things are tight. Pamela Sanchari and Lauren Jones and Marilyn King, Prince Holder. Good to see you, folks. Good to see all of you. Things tight. Candy says she's having curry fish. What kind of fish, Candy? You see, you so bushy. Fish gone, but you still eating fish. You got it like that. I know you're in this economy, Candy. I just know it. Curry fish. You know what always surprises me? I'll tell you this. What always surprises me is that people in the diaspora, y'all gone to the States to make y'all little money, live y'all fancy life and stuff, and y'all still cooking Chinese food. I tried that. The day toss a brick behind me, done y'all and y'all food. You're going to some Guyanese homes in the diaspora. I say, well, I can now sample, the Americans' food. I got eating cook up. I got eating curry. Mm? I go to the States because I want a cultural change. Y'all still dashing some dad puri in my chest. Still dashing a little dal puri in my chest. I said, well, I can sample the American kind of cooking now. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Right? Y'all gone so far. Things tight, things brown, things blue. And you see the miles to go into forget a little guy in his tennis roll. Then he's, and little cash drip and so on. You mean you fly tills of a live? Oh, only for one cash drip? Mm. Some of y'all really know y'all able, Some of y'all know y'all able. Some of y'all know y'all able. Perry Perry. Piri. How is that pronounced? Perry Perry. Same name. Good to see you, folks. Good to see you, Melinda McKenzie, Melanda McKenzie, Natisha Samuels. Good to see you as well. And all the other folks. Guy Jones. Guy Jones says chana stew and rice. Says he's a vegetarian. Guy Jones. Yep, yep, yep. Gotta do what you gotta do. China stew. I hope that's nice and dandy, nice and tasty. Marilyn Seaford. Yep, 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 yep. Marilyn King. All the Marilyns are here. Marilyn Seaford, Marilyn King, Carla Washington. Yep, yep, yep. And Jennifer Argyle says Guyanese and Reborn. I go so far. And I got your whole oh, looking for Guyanese food, looking for pint tart, looking for cheese roll. You really know your label. Y'all know your label, right? And I know, Beatrice says I like to go to Sibyl's on Liberty. Well, we don't know. Beatrice in Region 11. Hunting she Guyanese food. I always want a little Guyanese fried rice. You must say, bring little tennis roll. Bring little that. Yeah, go to the people country. Eat the people food. Shucks. Eat the people food. But good to have all of you, Marvin Jacobs and Diane Gribzandi. Good to have you, Vanessa Andrews, and is it all of you folks, all of you? Some of the names so fancy, some of the names are so fancy. Y'all only pick up the accent though. Y'all eating the people food, but the accent y'all pick up. uh, the accent, y'all, everything Chinese the one. They ain't even watching the people news. They're locked and loaded back home. But we happy, folks. We happy. We only teasing. A guy needs to the bone, indeed. A guy needs to the bone, and we trust that wherever you guys are, the Guyanese flag will continue to fly. And we know some of you guys are really, really doing us proud in the diaspora, and we're very pleased about that. You guys are doing fantastic, fantastic, fantastic things in the diaspora. And we want to say respect and manners to all of those folks who are keeping it real and doing well. You're going out there every day and you're working hard, you're earning that pay, and you're just making ends do. You're just making ends meet. Guyanese people are tremendously, tremendously innovative, right? And despite how the circumstances are hard, however the things are tight where you are, folks, we find a way. We find a way. I'm always amazed people who throw the little box hands and build businesses and build homes and buy cars and so on, because we know how to cut corners, folks, and make the little do. Make the little do, folks, because you know what happens when the jacobats and the trench crappos come back, and them boys come back, my Lord. Things tight. Andrew George, Things tight. Well, Andrew says Trinidad is home, which means Andrew, loves his doubles and that kind of stuff. Loves his bust up shot. Folks, you see Roti, it make me Roti here look like nothing. You see Roti in Trinidad. Some roti big like men. The bust up shot, folks. Trinidad got some good food too. Trinidad got some good food. Good food. You have, I used to love when I was living and working in Trinidad for a little bit. There was a place in Aranguez, Aranguez. That sounds more like it. That I used to work, and we used to go and buy some like chicken and chips, our version of it, and there was a hot sauce. They used to put in it, but it was the name of the hot sauce that always amazed me. They used to call it was so hot, it's so hot, but you still love it. It's so hot. You used to call it the mother-in-law. So when you go to buy a little chicken and chips, and so I said, put some mother-in-law in it. That used to always make me laugh. Used to always make me laugh. Put some mother-in-law in it, and they put this little picklish kind of thing on it. I always give it a little extra oomph. Shout out to all the folks living in Trinidad, all the folks in the diaspora. They all our Trinidadian listeners. That being said, quite a few things happening there. A lot of shake up in the cabinet, a lot of shake up in government, folks. Uh, you know, Dr. Rowley, you able. So you got to do what you got to do. You gotta do what you gotta do to meet the needs of his people. And if it's a shake up, it's a shake up. We need a shake up here. We need more than a shake up. We need a shake out all of them, shake out all of them. But elections coming, and the people are going to have their say. The people are going to have their say. You can look back. I think one of the major things for elections is if, when you look back, you think you're in a better position than you were before. And, this is 2022. These jagabats and trench crapper, these crosses and vagabonds and vipers, they came into office August 2nd, 2020. And look back, guys, who are listening, those of you who are at home in the hardship, in the strugglation. Struggle is one thing. When it comes to strugglation, it's desperation. You know? Yeah. Look back 2 years ago and you can ask yourself, are you better off than you were 2 years ago? Are you better off? Hmm? You're better off? You're better off? That's the base question. Let's start from there. And then you can talk about SOPs and PQRs and RIPs and TQMs and all of that. Are you better off than you were 2 days ago? Hmm? All right, all right, all right, all right. Are you better off than you were 2 years ago? And then we can move from there. Lots of things happening in the news. Lots of things that should concern us. The guys are talking about full coverage insurance. We dealt with it partly in our Friday evening show. In the ring, folks. We're talking about outstanding issues in oil and gas. And, this whole issue of full coverage insurance is one of those issues. And activist, lawyer, and accountant Christopher Ram says that 2 billion is less than a smidgen, is insufficient. Insufficient. One of the things we got to grapple with. One of the things we got to grapple. Good to see Patrick Rose out there. It's one of the things we got to grapple with. Good to see Dan Gravesandi and Paul Cush. Good to see Viola Wolford and Chakur Dionarain. Good to see all you fantastic folks. And Patrick is saying, what happened with Patrick wants to know why I stopped swearing. Who's sharing the damn live stream? I trust you're happy now, Patrick. Trust you're happy. Who's sharing the live stream, guys? Who's sharing it? Smash that emoji button for us. Hundreds of you guys are watching us, and if the back end is accurate, they said 40 persons have smashed the emoji button. What happened to the other 400 of you watching us? Come on, folks. Come on now. Smash that emoji button. In addition to that, I was telling you earlier on how I met some folks, a family were having some R&R in the national park yesterday afternoon. And as I passed, the little girl, she couldn't be older than 13, shouted out, "Things tight, Mr. Duncan." Yeah. I was taking my cycle yesterday afternoon just before I went into the national park. I was taking my cycle to get it serviced. I still do ride, believe it or not. And I did take both of my cycles, but the car could only manage one, so I took one to get it serviced. And as I was coming out of the cycle store, some vendors across the road called me out. She said, "It's Mr. Duncan." I said, "Yes." I went across it and we were chatting up about the pocket tour and the confusion powder and the whole lot of it that's happening here. And you know, I we were in laughter with some of what we were discussing, and the women were amazed. They said, "You laugh the exact same way." I don't know. People find my laughing intriguing for some reason. It's just what it is. It's just what it is, folks. And sometimes you try to not take yourself too seriously, and you try because you can get inundated with the mess and the filth and the miasma that this country has become, the decadence and the decay. You can become engrossed in that, but for the most part we got to find a way forward and fight forward. For the most part we got to fight, folks. We got to fight. God knows that I love if things were easy, but most of life you got to fight for what you want. Came up fighting, you have to fight forward, folks. Fight for every inch of ground. Nobody gives anything, right? Don't concede anything, folks. You got to fight for everything that you want. And that is why I've been keeping in your sights, folks, your goals and your aspirations and your everything you want, your dreams and your hopes for 2022. Don't let them slip out your fingers. Keep pressing forward. Keep pressing forward in your professional life, in your personal life. Keep pressing forward. All those things in your educational, your academic life. That's a better word. In your academic life, keep fighting forward. Smash that emoji, folks, and share the damn live stream. What's the matter with you folks? Come on now. We can come out here just to look handsome and pretty. God knows some of us won't stay long. Yep. So lots of issues in oil and gas, folks. And Christopher Ram is saying here, looking at the daily newspapers, it's not enough. This $2 billion. Nope, 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 nope. And one of the places the attribution was made to is that there was an oil spill quite recently, and in one of those countries it took about 70 billion. I was reading this news about 2 o'clock this morning prepping for the show. In one of the countries it took about $70 billion. So you could understand when Christopher Ram and the others, those activists out there, and the country and citizens have been saying, this is not enough money, right? 2 billion to 70 billion. Bearing in mind that this thing can affect our not only our livelihoods here and the environment, but also our neighbors. And if those guys, our neighbors, begin to sue us, for damages and so on, imagine where we are. If who's going to foot the bill, right? Let's say a potential oil spill is $70 billion, and you're only getting two from ExxonMobil. Who footing the rest? Hmm? Who's going to foot the rest? So you understand the kind of quandary that we're in. $2 billion is not even a drop in the ocean. Not even a drop in the ocean. And I'm trying to gather the country they were talking about, where they had the $70 billion cleanup effort. And that's what they were saying. It's 2 billion is grossly, to use the word of the newspapers, grossly insufficient. Grossly insufficient, guys. And these are some issues we got to continue to press on, that they are revisited by ExxonMobil and by this installed catfish regime, that the cost, and we got to up that cost significant significantly, or else Guyanese are gonna left holding this bag. Guyanese are gonna be left holding this bag, this empty bag. We're gonna have to foot the bill if we don't, shape up and do right. We're gonna be left holding this bill, all right, of a potential oil spill. And that's what Christopher Ram is saying. It is grossly inadequate. Yep. And I tend to agree. Grossly inadequate. Grossly inadequate. And we gotta revisit that. I understand sometimes it's only pressure can change these things. Every businessman, most businessmen, I shouldn't say every, a lot of business people, they want to put in the most meager investment, but they want to get out everything. But we got to safeguard ourselves at the end of the day. We have to safeguard ourselves at the end of the day. I'm watching some commentary in the newspapers also that talk about garlic price going up. Everything is garlic alone. Everything going up. I was telling you yesterday about trying to buy some gas recently. when I saw the amount I give uh, the the sales rep at the gas station, and where the needle went. I'm not accustomed to that. No, no, no way, Jose. I had to look back at the pump too. See if I get the right thing. Folks, things tight, right? Carly came into work the other day, and I asked her, I said, how things? She said, well, we had to drive with the window down. I didn't get it till late in the day. I'm slow like that. She said, that's how things are. We had to drive with the window down. You understand that? Folks, you think you overstand that? She said we had to drive with the window down. Who's sharing the damn live stream for us? So that others get credible and valid information. Paul Cush, have you been driving with your window down? What about Mark DeCosta? You have been driving with your window down too? June Chase and Patrick Rose. You've been driving with your windows down, folks? Margaret Nelson, pressure bus pipe. Margaret says, in her crab man voice. Into crab man voice. Pressure bus pipe. And so that's what's happening at that end. In other news, we're seeing, a hit and run over the weekend. A hit and run claimed 2 lives. Yep, a hit and run accident claimed 2 lives, and we're learning that the driver has been apprehended. And this was a hit and run at number 70 Village Quarantine, right? Along the number 70 Village Quarantine, and 2 persons lost their lives there. And we're being told that the driver, right, you left the scene of an accident. That's one offense. You didn't render assistance as another offense. The driver was apprehended in the city. The driver was apprehended in the city, right? Yep. The driver was apprehended in the city. A member of parliament, Fazal Jafar Ali, he hit down a 12-year-old on the quarantine, fled the scene. Nothing ever came out of that. Nothing ever came out of that. A member of parliament, Faisal Jafar Ali from Region 6, hit down a 12-year-old. Thankfully, there are no reports that the guy, it was a fatality, but you could imagine the kind of shock and trauma a 12-year-old would be in. Story hush hush. Nothing ever came of that matter. Nothing. Fled the scene. Didn't stop. Didn't render assistance. He's still a member of parliament, and I on suspension because I spoke up for my sisters in the National Assembly. I'm on suspension from the National Assembly. I'm on full suspension from the National Assembly because I spoke up for my sisters, and a parliamentarian who hit down a 12-year-old did not render assistance, fled the scene. Weeks ago, this happened. I've been talking about it all the time. Right? He's still a member, a bona fide member of the National Assembly. You understand why many years ago, perhaps on a Sunday like this, right, there was a chant in the crowd that says, "Jail Jesus, but give us Barabbas." Jail Jesus, but give us Barabbas. Give us Barabbas. Faisal Jafar Ali in the National Assembly. Right? But this guy was held in the city. The alleged driver that would have this hit and run on the quarantine that left 2 dead. And the daily newspapers is telling us that 2 persons died on Friday night after they were struck by a car along the number 70 Village Quarantine Public Road. The driver who fled the scene was arrested yesterday afternoon in Georgetown after the damaged vehicle, a Suzuki Escudo Jeep bearing license plate PVV 1015, was located. The deceased are Tony Lakeram, 20, and a carpenter of number 71 Village Quarantine, and the female companion Felicia Fernandez, 28, of lot 14 Coverden East Bank. The accident occurred around 23:20 hours. Yep. The driver and the vehicle are in police custody currently, and investigations continue. Yep. But if you see the leadership of the country doing it, citizens feel it's okay. And you see how we get a breakdown in law and order because dysfunction begets dysfunction. Faisal Jaffer Ali belongs to the PPP and is part of the untouchables. Right? All you hear ever happening is legal opinion, and they can wait legal opinion for the next 50 years. Next 50 years. The vice chairman of Region 6 hit down a pedestrian, killing the pedestrian. And that matter is awaiting a legal opinion. Months ago, the vice chairman of Region 6 is a PPP. Months ago, waiting a legal opinion. Yep. Terachan Balgobin, who was the project manager at the Ministry of Finance, hit down a young Babishan, a teacher, killing him. Terachan's vehicle veered into the uncommon lane, killing the motorist. And he's still at work, earning a full salary. Right? Dysfunction begets dysfunction. And this is what we offer to this country as leadership. When no accountability is being had at the top. Right? You could understand why somebody hits down two pedestrians and flees the scene. Let me get my verbs correct. And flees the scene. Because there's no accountability at the top. Right? And I will keep talking and they're going to try to penalize me because they don't want to hear the truth. The truth hurts. Share the damn live stream. The truth hurts. Which brings us to this issue now of what is happening at BV Triumph NDC and who the hell vex. I have no apologies. I'm getting like them guys now. Every two lines they make. I have no apologies. You have no apologies. Because I know I'm on the side of right. And if we do like everybody doing, what difference is there? What difference is there? And if I feel I can no longer talk what is right, then I will pack my bags and go. So I'm going to talk a couple things. And who vex? Who vex? The good book tells us there is one law. There is one law. There is one spirit. Who vex? You can't get several laws operating in a country. It's one law for you, one law for me, one law for Mr. Lakram here, who lost his life, unfortunately, and his companion, Miss Finance, Felicia Finance, and Tony Lakram. There's one law for them, and there's another law for people who got money and influence. You think if I hit down somebody, I don't find my tail in jail in this country here with these jagabats and trench crapper? So why is Terachan Balgabin any different? I hold no malice against Mr. Balgabin. I hold no malice against Mr. Jaffrali. I hold no malice against Dr. Halley, who are all PPP folks who have been in vehicular accident, been in the wrong, and has faced no penalty. And I can't talk about them, and I don't talk about the young lady who bit the policeman. Right? Miss Dalrymple, in what country on this earth, in what country could you bite a policeman and you face no repercussions? In what country? And that is our offering of leadership. That is what we call leadership. You could bite a policeman. In which country? And you face no repercussions? But if a man feels that you have called him on social media a jagabat, and a jagabat he is, and if he feels you call him a trench crapo, and a trench crapout is what he is, or you could face repercussions for slander and libel, right? and some trumped up charge on some cyber crime. If you call a man and he perceive you talking to him, a trench crapper and a jagabat, but a woman could bite a policeman and there's video evidence of it. God of mercy, woman or man, and there's no repercussion. That's the country what we want to live in. I want to raise my kids here, and I must agree and call you a legitimate government, and you encourage that foolishness and nonsense. And you fighting me to call you legitimate, and a woman bit a policeman, but because she serves you as her master, she gets off, never faces any penalty, but you're going to beat me over my head to call you legitimate. Uh, we could mow down people in the streets in this country and kill them and never face a penalty. Hit them down like dogs and worse than dogs and never face a penalty because the PPP is your master. But if I don't recognize you as legitimate, you coming after me, I only want to do God's will. I only want to do God's will. That's all I want to do. But you got some trench crappos and jagabats, apparently, in the BV Triumph NDC. Apparently, we got some trench crappos and jagabats there as well. You know, Louis Farrakhan said something a couple years ago. I listened to Louis Farrakhan, love his oration, love the fact that he's well researched, well thought out, well structured. And he said, all of our skinfolk aren't our kinfolk. And I only got that as I became much older. You see, folks, some things you will understand better by and by. And I only understood that hymn much later in life. Much later in life. You know, Anna Quenlin, a superb writer, says that some books you come to too soon. And as an older person now, I understood that. Like when I read uh, Ronald Reagan's autobiography when I was like 14 or 15. I loved reading. I read everything I could put my hand on. And that's one of the books my mother had in the house. But I appreciated it much later in life. Lots of the books I read early in life, when I came back to them later, I had a deep appreciation for them. It's like, you know, watching movie on one of those old model televisions. When you get a proper television and you watch a movie back, you say, oh, God, is all this I miss? It's like seeing it for the first time. Some things I came to too early in life, but now later I understand it better by and by. All your skinfolk in all your kinfolk. You understand me? All your Mhm. You think all your country folk is the best folk? I lived in Antigua for a little bit as well. And one of the things my aunt told me when I was living in Antigua, she said, people from your country here is your sometimes is your worst enemy. Again, you'll understand it better by and by. And so I've been following and I've spoken about it on our affiliate program in the ring, and I'm talking about it. I talked about it here below the belt, and I'm raising it again. There is something that stinks to high heavens at the BV Triumph NDC. There was an arrangement that was being entered into at the NDC between the NDC and John Finance, in which John Finance was being issued with 143.10 acres of land there in BV Triumph NDC. And rightfully, the people in the NDC spoke out against what was happening because it seemed to be a secret. So much so that people were only alerted to what was happening because the document was leaked. Now, if that's the only way your constituents in the NDC, the Neighborhood Democratic Council, the Better for Acting Triumph Neighborhood Democratic Council, if that's the only way you are going to do your politics and the people are going to be informed who put you there, then something is wrong with that, right? Something is wrong with that. And I don't care who your masters are. If they says it's right, good for them. But something is wrong with that. If the people who put you there got to find out through leaked documents that the lands there in the council, the Neighborhood Democratic Council, the lands that are vested in the council and under the purview and authority of the council are being sold out from right under them. You got to leak documents to tell them, then I got a problem with that. Right? And folks, I'll tell you this, I've long ago settled some things. When I got involved in politics, this is not about friend, it's not about family. Don't put me in a position that compromises my values because I ain't gonna move against you. Because you're my friend, you shouldn't put me in a position to have to compromise. We got some problems there. And so the people spoke out, and I saw in the press that John Finance said it was no longer going forward with this arrangement because apparently, for all intents and purposes, it didn't know that the land was contentious land until people spoke out and see why we have a right as people to speak. We have a right to speak because only so them boys at the top would know you're not in acquiescence. You're not in agreement with what's happening. And so John Finance backed out of the arrangement. But if you pick up the morning papers, if you picked up yesterday's papers, you won't get that impression. And a lot of things are going to shock you guys. Who's sharing the damn live stream? And who can smash the emoji button for us? I can talk the things. Who vex lose? I got a responsibility. As a citizen, I am a member of the National Assembly, albeit I'm suspended. No. And I take those things seriously. So this issue again is in the public domain, but it has some meanders and meanderings and some turns and some twists. It's quite surprising. It's quite surprising because, again, apparently the NDC got a letter recently from a lawyer. You got to follow me now, right? I'm in Acts chapter. You got to follow. The NDC, this is the BV Triumph NDC, got a letter from a lawyer recently, and as quoted in the newspapers, it says, the matter at caption refers, I am instructed that my client purchased from your NDC on the 30th day of November 2021. My client purchased from your NDC on the 30th day of November 2021 immovable property situate at Section G Plantation Bedford in the Triumph Bedford NDC Village District, East Coast, Demerara, which consists of 143.10 acres, right? 141.10 acres. This missive serves to inform you that my client is ready willing and able to complete the conveyance. In the circumstances, I shall be grateful if the necessary acts can be taken to ensure the filing, advertising, and passing of transport in favor of my client. And this was sent in a letter to the NDC on March 16th, 2022. And it was sent according to the newspapers by attorney Shanella Glenn George, and it was addressed to the BV Triumph overseer Michelle Otto or Otto. The attorney, and listen to where it gets strange. Listen to where it gets strange, people. It says here the attorney's client. Remember, the attorney says, according to the papers, my client, right? I am instructed that my client purchased and that they wanted to claim on the land now that was purchased. They wanted the transport. According to the papers, and I'm reading from Starbuck News, the attorney's client was not named in the letter. Hold on. An attorney is writing on behalf of a client concerning land, 143 acres of land. But the client is not named, right? Something stinks to high heavens at the BV Triumph NDC and Hoovex lose. You think that's where it stops? You better share the damn live stream and smash the emoji button. You think that's where it stops? So the letter written to the NDC demanding that the land is transferred does not state who the client is. So naturally, if I am reading that, peoples, if I am reading that, who's sharing the live stream, man? We just here talking to himself. If I am reading that, I am going to think, it's these Jacobats again. But I ain't want to give. I tell you, I'm not here for propaganda, you know. I'm not here to pull down and to denigrate people for the sake of it. I'm not here to do that. But I would think, is John Finance again. Right? That's what I would think, because John Finance and the NDC was in an arrangement prior. That is what I'd be thinking. That is what I would be thinking. Oh, yes, that's what I'd be thinking. But it gets stranger. It gets stranger. So there's no name of this client, right? The paper says that calls to the attorney's mobile phone went unanswered. Calls to the attorney phone went answered. Calls to the attorney's phone went unanswered, right? But listen to what the paper says. The acreage referred to in the letter is the exact amount that John Finance Limited had been in agreement to acquire last year for $35 million. Right? They were in agreement to acquire last year for $35 million, 143 acres for $35 million. Oh, Father, help us today. Right? But as I said, last year, after the furore by the members of the public there in BV Triumph, Better for Acting Triumph, right? I saw with my own eyes in the paper, John Finance published saying that they were pulling out of the arrangement. They were pulling out of the arrangement. But hold on, it gets stranger than fiction. Remember, I said to you, no name is in the letter from an attorney stating that her client wants their 143.10 acres. And Starbucks News says this matches the exact acres that this arrangement was happening for John Finance. I hope you are sitting down. Something stinks to high heavens at the NDC. The Better for Acting Triumph NDC. Something stinks to high heavens. And here is where it gets more stink. Here is where it gets more stink. Right? Here is where it gets more stink. John Finance was contacted recently. John Finance was contacted recently, and John Finance says they have nothing to do with this. They said what they have stated originally still stands. They have no further interest in this property, since clearly it is contentious. Let me read from the lawyer's letter from John Finance. Let me read from the lawyer's letter from John Finance. John Finance lawyer wrote thus, right? We have nothing to do with this. And I am very, very sure John Finance Chief Executive Officer Philip Finance told Starbuck News when contacted. Nothing has changed from our first position, he emphasized. Right? And then the article says John Finance has distanced itself. John Finance has distanced itself from that lawyer's letter. Apologies here. From the lawyer's letter that had no client stated. So if there is a client who is claiming 143.10 acres in land under the jurisdiction of the Belfawacton Triumph NDC, who buying the land? If it's not John Finance, who is buying the land? Bernard Innes, Chisung Henry, who buying the land? Deborah Clark, Carlotta Ronalds, and Sharma Roberts, who buying the land? Right? I try to get in contact with some folks from the NDC, but I'm told nobody will talk to me on this issue. Who buying the land? Who is buying the land that attorney Shanella Glenn George is purporting to represent? Who is the client that is not named in the lawyer's letter? John Finance says it is not them. Right? But hold on. I said it stink. It more stink. And if I know my comparatives and superlatives, most gotta follow. Right? Stink, more stink, most stink. But hold on. It gets better, folks. It gets better. Hold on. This here popcorn and cokes. It gets better. So we've established two things. A lawyer wrote to the NDC. The paper quotes the lawyer is Shanella Glenn George. This says in this letter purporting to demand this 143 acres on behalf of the lawyer's client. The client name isn't mentioned in the letter. Right? The amount being claimed matches that John Finance was in an arrangement with the NDC for. And when contacted, John Finance says, we have nothing. John Finance, let me get the man's position. John Finance, who's the fella? Let me get his name. John Finance, Chief Executive Officer, Philip Finance says, nothing has changed from our first position. Right? We have nothing to do with this. I am very, very, very sure. Right? So you got the lawyer's letter demanding the land with no client's name in it. And then John Finance says, they have nothing to do with this. So it's who buying the land? Right? Somebody says Sue name calling. Oh, Sue? Folks, it get more bizarre. It get more stink. It gets more stink. Watch me now. Follow me now. We pass it wrong Jeffrey basket just now. Follow me now, people. Follow me now. Follow me now. Here what happened next. There was a statutory meeting in the NDC, right? Well, the people in Triumph, the people in BV Vex. So there was a statutory meeting last week, Thursday. This is the 17th of March. You want to see strange? Look where is here now. There was a statutory meeting and the people went. The people went for fight for the rights because clearly the people who should be fighting for their rights more interested in selling out their land from under them. Right? The people who should be fighting for their rights, selling out the land from under them. So what's happening here now. They had a statutory meeting last week, Thursday, of which residents turned up. Right? Residents turned up. And I want to quote from Starbuck News. Right? Starbuck News is get Basidi one and two times, but then let's catch yourself. Let's get Basidi one and two times. But I got some good journalists over there. What story here now? Here it is. A statutory meeting was due to be held by the RDC on Thursday. This is Thursday, the 17th of March. And villagers seeking answers about the request grew even more concerned. Why were they concerned? When they were told that while they were invited to the meeting, only one person could go into the meeting at a time. Only one person who shared the Dab live stream for who's smashing the emoji button. Only one person could go into the meeting at a time. As a result, I got slapped the tongue. As a result, they had to take turns. A move they all said made no sense since they had the same concerns. The residents, the people concerned about this land, right? They went to a meeting and they told they could only go in the meeting, a council meeting, a neighborhood democratic council, the BV, the Better for Acting Triumph Neighborhood Democratic Council. But the residents could only go in one at a time, right? But one such resident was Clyde Westmoreland. Clyde Westmoreland. Clyde said to Sandbrook News, why not do this meeting in the open hall or even downstairs here where people can come and be heard? Why not do this meeting in an open hall or even downstairs here where people can come and be heard? No, they don't want that. They want to take you in one so they can tell this body one story and that body another story and that body another story. They don't want us in groups because they know what will happen if we are in numbers. They are not allowing you to speak. An irate Clyde Westmoreland said, a bunch of crooks is what he called them. This is not me. I would have harsher words. I would have words with you, as the British would say. A bunch of crooks. Something stinks to high heavens. At the BV Triumph NDC. It stinks. Right? Mr. Westmoreland said, a villager, he said, them now come at this village. Them now come at this village and want to sell out people land. It is transported land because the council don't have no lands at the back there. I am tired of these here people. I want the council to know that council land is reserve land. And them ain't got no reserve land at the back there. All the lands have transports. All is transported land. And they ain't going to get away with this nonsense. Right? In addition to Mr. Clyde Westmoreland. In addition to Mr. Clyde West, who's sharing the live stream for us? Who's smashing the emoji button so folks can get valid and credible information? So Clyde Westmoreland was just one of the persons, right? Also being reported is that 79-year-old New York-based Guyanese Winston Padmore was also has an interest also in these lands. 79-year-old New York-based Guyanese Winston Padmore, who said he wanted to ensure that whenever he passes, see, a family there thinking about legacy. He wants to make sure when he passes, when he passes on, there is no contention over lands he owns, some of which was inherited from his parents. And Winston Padmore said, he said, I came early, took my turn, and went in. I took all my documents. I took my tax receipts, my transport, every bill and every document. They took them, went through them, and told me that everything is okay with my land and that my land is not on the list, he said, holding up a large folder with documents. Mhm. He said that he was not told what the list was for. Oh, Father, right? Yep. So that is part of what's happening on that front. That's part of what's happening on that front. The paper also reports some comments of a councillor, one Elton McCrae, one of the nearly 100 Bedford acting residents who owns part of the contentious lands, right? And Mr. McCrae spoke about the lands basically on like the size of the land, where it's situated, and of that nature, right? Of that nature, right? But there's a particular part of this report that is another part that's interesting. Before I let you go, right? It is reporting some of what John Finance said. I think you ought to know about. John Finance had said that when it learned of the objection by the residents, that is, John Finance Limited immediately made the decision to pull out of the deal because it did not want to be part of a process where persons felt they were being shortchanged. So clearly, John Finance is saying they are out, 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 out. All right? Here's what John Finance says. When people objected and started saying we should not be buying the land and it belonged to other people, we said if there are people who made claims and there might be legitimacy to those claims, we don't want to go against that. So it was safer for us to say, let us take a step back and we can always look elsewhere because it wasn't an immediate need for us. We don't absolutely need it, Finance had told his papers. And I read that in the very first report on this matter. So if it's not John Finance, folks, who is, if it's not John Finance buying this 143 acres, this 143.10 acres that it was in an arrangement with the NDC to buy initially, who is Chanella Glenn George, attorney at law, representing? Who is this client? Right? Who is this client? And if quite recently, for what you call it, for Pagua, thousands of persons could flood the national stadium, and if thousands of persons can flood the Georgetown Cricket Club, why is it residents who are looking after a legitimate issue got to go into a meeting at BV Triumph NDC one by one? Why is that? If COVID-19 restrictions have been suspended and they say to people, wear your mask if you want to, it's not mandatory anymore, right? You no longer have to present your vaccination card to go into a building to conduct public business. As far as I know, all of that has been suspended. If the NDC has nothing to hide and everything is above board, right? Then the NDC should state who the client is. We don't only need a lawyer to do that, but the NDC is not private business conducting with the neighborhood democratic council's resources, or is it that there is so much secrecy surrounding it that residents who claim that they have transport to the land got to go into a meeting one by one? If thousands could flock the stadiums, thousands could flock all by Stone, thousands can flock the Georgetown Cricket Club for Pagua. You tell me going to do legitimate business. People are going one by one. Something stinks to high heavens at the BV Triumph NDC. Something stinks to high heavens. And I am calling on the BV Triumph NDC to make it right. To make it right. And I'm saying to you, don't call me on the phone. Quietly, come on the show and talk about what's happening in the NDC. Come on the program and let's talk about what's happening at the NDC. There's nothing to hide. If there's nothing to be ashamed of, if everything is above board, come on the program and let's talk about the work of the NDC, and in particular, this 143.10 acres of land. Or else don't come around with funny. Don't come around with funny. Isn't the people we're supposed to be serving, or are we serving we self? And building big businesses. And thieving properties. Thieving up land. Are we working for the people, or are we working for ourselves? We working for the people, or are we working for ourselves? Don't come around with funny. Because I know all me skin folk is not me kin folk. You think I don't know that? You think I divided because I paggly? Don't come around with funny. Who vex lose? A lot of skullduggery happening there. A lot of foolishness happening there. Come clean with the people. Let my people go. Come on, the pharaohs in BV Triumph NDC. Let my people go. Let their lands go. Who vex lose? That's our time. And after he said these words, he closed Facebook. That's our time today, folks. That's our time today. Who vex lose? Something stinks to high heavens at the BV Triumph NDC. And it is the responsibility of the NDC that has been democratically elected to operate democratically, transparently, with good accountability and good governance. Right? Good accountability and good governance. I sat right here and I spoke about what's happening at Martakai NDC. And the fraud and the skullduggery, and it would be remiss of me if I didn't have a comment on these jagabats and trench crappos. And after he has said these words, he closed the book. Who vex lose? Who vex? Vex! That being said, folks, hope you guys are having a fantastic Sunday where you are. You all have things to say, NDC? Come on the program, let me talk. We below the belt, you can talk where you want to talk. What, the councillors in the NDC quiet now? Who leading the NDC? Huh? We people in this country done hot and you put it more hot on them? Skites. Folks, somebody take the mic, please. Somebody grab the mic. That's our time today. Good to see you, Diane Gribzandian, Velva Claudia. Good to see you, Deborah Clark and Ingrid King, Gloria Plot, Kevin Bauer, good to see you. Linden, good to see you. Chisung Henry and John Abrams. Bull Page, good to see you. Straighten up and fly right. Dunsford Jeffrey and Linden, good to see you. Linden Gill and Cherry Baskin Greenwich, good to see you. Gloria Pod, good to see you there. Good to see each and every one of you folks. We cannot do these programs without you, and that is why I always encourage you to come on board with us and partner so we can continue to grow from strength to strength. We ain't going to sell out and thief out people land. God, things get tight. We could be poor, but we got a little value, we got integrity, we got decency. Don't come wrong with funny. Some of y'all never see a good damn day hard work in your life. Everything came easy. That's why y'all could be going after people's land and foolishness. Don't come wrong with funny. I have earned my damn right to speak. Who vex lose? That's our time, folks. We got several platforms by which you can come on board and partner with us. Y'all know we got Zelle, we got PayPal. They don't rice we, so we could talk. I could talk. They don't rice me. I can talk, and I will keep talking. We got PayPal, we got Zelle, we got all the rest of it. Cash App. I ain't even thinking straight how a Vix. Right? I am instructed. I know what kind of church y'all is go to. I am instructed. Y'all ever read Proverbs? Go to 31. He said, speak for those who can't speak for themselves. Do justly. Judge righteously. God. Who put some of y'all in this council, man? Who put some of y'all there? Y'all don't go home and look in a mirror? Is everything y'all want? You want to own the whole damn BV? You want to own the whole damn Triumph? How much land is enough for you? All right. That being said, folks, I got to close the book. That's our time today. We are available via Cash App, via Zelle, via PayPal, via MMG, via MoneyGram, via Western Union. We got to keep our programs going because we got things to see. And we're so grateful for those of you who help us day after day, month after month. Folks, make a decision, not just to come and listen, but that you're going to partner with us and help us to do this. We got to go and fight the jagabats and the trench crappers in whichever form they manifest themselves. We got to fight wrong wherever we see it. Wherever we see it. That's our time today, folks. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead and have a great rest of the day, guys. Candy Lillian, Inderjeet, and Penelope Howard. Good to see you, lovely, beautiful folks. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Share the live stream before you go. Hundreds are still tuned in with us, guys. So glad to have you here. Thanks for spending this little time with us on Sunday. Take some time for yourself. Be gentle with yourself, folks. Be gentle with yourself. Good to see each and every one of you. Really, really happy that you guys are here with us. John Abrams and Velva Claudia, Jane Ann McDonald. Good to see you. Good to see you, Karen Clark. Good to see each and every one of you guys. Really, really heartened that so many of you joined us today for our podcast. We're going to be back tomorrow. Don't go far, folks. Have a great time. However, that's our time. Stay safe, folks. Stay safe. That's our time. And please make that decision to come on board and partner with us. Don't only come and eat and you ain't even pay for the food. Don't only come and eat, you ain't even tip the waiter. Good to have you guys. We love each and every one of you. Stay safe. That's our time. That's our time.